Now, if your dog's e-collar conditioned, the e-collar is actually a way better tool to use because it doesn't require you to go all the way to your dog. You can correct them at a distance, but it is a little trickier to use, so there are some important notes that I want to go over. So first, as soon as your dog breaks, you're going to say no, and then you're going to tap the button once. Stay. No. At that point, if your dog stops and sits back down, you don't have to do anything else. If they don't, let's say you tap the button and then your dog tries to come towards you, don't keep pressing the button. If you also use the e-collar for recalls, that's what your dog's probably trying to do there. Your dog might be thinking, oh, I'm supposed to come to you. That will turn the pressure off. So if they're thinking this, if you keep pressing the button, it's not going to help. It's going to confuse them. So that's why only press it once. And then if your dog tries to come to you at that point, use spatial pressure and walk into them and say sit. No. No. Sit. You can also, if you get all the way to them or if they get all the way to you, then just grab the leash, pull up on the leash, and then walk away from them again. Make sure you watch our recall video before watching this video so that if your dog goes away from you, you know how to get them to come back. So if you tell your dog sit, stay, you walk away, and then your dog gets up, goes away, same thing, you're gonna say no, you're gonna tap the button one time, but if your dog continues to go away from you, then you're going to use the e-collar to recall your dog back to you, and you should move to about the approximate spot that they were in when you're recalling them. No. No. Fondue, come. Fondue, come. Fondue, come. Fondue, come. No. Fondue, come. Good girl. Sit. Fondue, sit. No. Stay. All right, so you're recalling your dog. You're using the e-collar potentially there just to get them to come back. Turn it off as soon as they start to come back to you. Get them set up in the spot that they were in. Tell them sit, stay, walk away again, and keep repeating that process until they stop getting up. Now for some dogs, if they've moved way far away from their original spot that we put them in, we'll at that point move them back to where they were and reset them in the same spot. We don't do this with all dogs, and also if they only move a few feet, if they move just a little bit, we usually don't put them back at that point. So it's only if your dog moves really far away. Here's. Now remember, when you move your dog back to their spot, don't be happy and cheerful and upbeat when you're doing that. That can be rewarding, right? So if your dog gets up, moves far away, you say no, and then you happily walk them back to where they were, that's not gonna be a correction most likely. And again, that might actually be rewarding to them, and they might just get up so that they get attention and get to interact and engage with you. No. No. Come on, Delta. Let's go back here. Come on. Come on, girl. Sit. Stay. No. No. No, come on. Let's go. Come on, girl. Come on. Good. Sit. So when you bring your dog back, make it an unpleasant experience for them, right? So you're not going to be happy. Keep a little bit amount of pressure on the leash until they get back to that spot that they were in, and then we'll tell them to sit, and as soon as they sit, we'll release the pressure. No. Sit. Stay. All right, let's talk about downstays. For downstays, all the same rules apply. There's just a few differences. So when you're rewarding your dog, when you're bringing them room service, make sure that their elbows stay on the ground as you're giving the treat. Down. Boy. Boy. If you go to bend over and give the treat, as soon as their elbows come up, say no, pull the treat away, and then as soon as they go back down, as soon as their elbows touch the ground, then you can bring the treat back out, but don't give your dog the treat if they come up out of a down position. No. Down. Boy. And make sure at the very end, if your dog's elbows are still on the ground, then you want to shove the treat into them so that you're not luring them up out of a down position. Down. Good. No. 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 Good. And notice how I'm pretty quick at the very end about bringing the treat to him. I'm not going to linger too long here because then he's just going to fail. I kind of want to let him have success once. So I might start off bringing the treat slowly to him, and at the end, I'm really going to shove it into him so that he doesn't get up. Now in terms of using leash pressure, for sit, we pull up on the leash. For down, you're going to pull down on the leash. Same principles apply though. You want to keep constant pressure until they're all the way down and then release it. Down. That's a little bit more of an advanced technique that's really handy where you use your foot to apply pressure instead of your hand. It just makes it so you don't have to bend over. If that's too difficult, you can just pull down with your hand. Boba, come on. Down. Good boy, good. And with the foot, down. Good. And that's the technique you would use if your dog breaks a down stay. If you're correcting them with leash pressure, remember you're going to say no, grab the leash, pull down, or step on it. All right, let's talk about how to practice weights. So first, let's recap the criteria. When you walk up to the threshold, you're going to say wait, and then remember your dog doesn't have to sit. They can be standing. They're just not allowed to cross that imaginary line. If they cross that line, then same as with sit and down stays. The first thing you're going to do as soon as they cross that line is you're going to say no, and then you're going to use spatial pressure if they're trying to move towards you. Wait. 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 No. No. Wait. Now obviously spatial pressure only works if your dog's moving towards you. So if you're at the doorway with them and they start to move past the boundary, then you're going to say no and give either a leash pop correction or an e-collar correction. Wait. 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 Rewards are really important for weights, so make sure to also bring your dog room service when you do this. So if you say wait and you walk away from them, then make sure you occasionally come back to them and reward. Good job, Mama. Good girl, Mama. Good. Good job, Mama. That's good. Let's go. Let's go. Good girl. Some important notes about releasing your dog. One, it's always better to go back to your dog to release them. So if you tell them stay and you walk far away, don't release them when you're standing far away from them. Boba, stay. Boba, come. Boba, come. Good boy. Yeah, buddy. The reason we don't do this a lot is because it will create anticipation, and it'll make it so that the next time you tell your dog stay and you walk away from them, they might be thinking, oh, there's a chance you're going to release me, and then they're less likely to stay there. They're more likely to just break randomly and come to you. So we want to eliminate that possibility in our dogs' minds as much as possible by doing it as little as possible. So very rarely do we release our dogs when we're far away from them. The majority of the time we come back and release them. Stay. Okay, free. Yeah! Dog training isn't always black and white. We do make exceptions for certain things, and we always want to reward our dogs for making an effort. So if you tell your dog to sit and stay and you walk in a circle around them, a lot of dogs, when you go behind them, a lot of dogs want to turn and face you. Sometimes with some dogs, we'll let them turn and face us as long as they remain in that same spot. So draw like a circle around them. As long as they stay relatively inside that circle and they keep their butt down as they pivot. Some of the times we allow that. So there are exceptions, and there are times where we may not correct our dog for moving just a little bit if we notice that they catch themselves and they remind themselves that they have to sit or lie back down. Stay. Good. So really, he's showing me that he's somewhat committed to staying in that spot. He's not just getting up and moving towards me or getting up and going over there. So he is making an effort, and also because he's a young puppy, he's not quite at the advanced stages that some of the older, more experienced dogs are at. I'm allowing some of this. Another thing to factor in when you're working on stays is the surface that your dog is on. If it is a slippery, slick surface, like a tile floor, remember, it might be difficult for your dog to hold a sit because they might be sliding their feet out from under them. Also, if the ground is hot, if you're on asphalt and it's really hot out, the sun's heating the ground up, it might be painful and uncomfortable for your dog to sit. So think about the surface that you're working on and factor that in as well.